Now that we know some basic drawing techniques and how to use a little bit of AutoCAD, we're going to move into multi-view projections or orthographic projection. Orthographic projections allow us to define three-dimensional shapes such as this one on a two-dimensional piece of paper by displaying their front, right, top, or if need be, left, bottom, and back. But more often than not, you'll be using either front, top, or right. So I'm going to move over. This is SolidWorks. I've just had this three-dimensional shape here to kind of help you better understand or visualize what I'm about to show you in AutoCAD. Okay, so moving over to AutoCAD, I'm going to first I've already done it, but before you start, I would set up your layers for your different line types. For the time being, we're going to just focus on our visible lines, hidden lines, and center lines. There are more lines than that, but that's just what we're going to focus on to start. So with the visible line, we want it to be, the color doesn't matter, set that with whatever you prefer, preferably something you can see. I would not set it to black. White seems to be better when it comes to printing, so maybe stick with white. The line type needs to be continuous. Line weight is between let's see here, it was 0.5 and 0.6. I've set mine to 0.6. You can change these just by clicking on each of those things. So I clicked on that, that's 0.6. Continuous is default, so when you make your visible layer, it'll be defaulting to continuous. Next one will be hidden. I set mine to cyan. It can be whatever color you want. The line type does need to change, so you click on that. You'll need to load that in because it should just be continuous when you start out. So hit load and then scroll down until you find hidden. Click on that. I'm gonna hit cancel because I already got mine loaded. You'll hit OK. And then before you hit this OK, make sure hidden is highlighted like I have here. So if I hit OK now, it's gonna be set to phantom. So I want to make sure it's on hidden. Hit OK. And then our line weight is between 0.35 and 0.45. I have mine set to 0.35. And then the last one we'll need is center, which I've set to red. But once again, doesn't matter, just pick a color. Line type, center. So click on there, load, find center, make sure it's highlighted, and hit OK. Oops. And then the line weight for that is 0.3. You also will want a construction line, which I have mine in here. Gray, continuous, line weight doesn't matter, leave that at default. And then I make mine transparent, so they're more faint. So when you have visible lines or hidden lines over the top of them, it's easier to see. So first thing I'm going to do now that I got all that set up is start with my construction lines. So XL. Place it at 0, 0, one at 90, and one at 0. Okay, so my shape that I just showed you is, I'm going to use offset. It is 18 inches wide and 6 inches tall. Oops, I think I just went off it. Offset 6. So this is going to be my front view. Now I need to start setting up my top view. So just offsetting a certain distance. I'm going to go 3. Kind of depends on the part you're making. Just make sure your views are fairly spaced apart so it doesn't get confusing which is which. And then also make sure they're spaced far enough apart for when we get into dimensions. Okay, so the depth of this part was 12 inches. So that's going to be where my top view is. And then I'm going to offset here also about 3 to start on my right side view. I'm going to throw in a 45-degree projection line or a miter line. So XL, click here, tab 45. So whatever construction lines intersect with this 45 and then shoot down will be equal in size to what, in position to what they are in the top view as they are in the right view. So to demonstrate, XL at this point, and then I'm going to use the measure command here. Distance from here to here, as you can see, is 12. All right, let's start putting in some details here. I'm going to start with the top view. Offset. There was that angled cutout, so that was 6 over from here, and then XL at a 75-degree up this way. I'm going to fill that in with some visible lines. Line. Oops. Line. Here to, well, since it's a rectangle, I'm going to use the rectangle tool. So rec. Up to there. Line. There to there. I will go to the front view now. So similar thing, rec. Offset. The cutout started about halfway, 3 inches. And then, so now I'm going to project. So there would be an inclined plane here. So to display that, I'm going to copy this one to here. So I'm going to project down to here to create that inclined shape in the front view. So line, there's that edge, line over here to here and up. And then selecting this one and this one, trim, and get rid of that. So if I jump back over to our 3D object here, if we go to the front view, what I just created was this surface right here. Just like that. Okay, so let's start up the right view. I'm going to use a rectangle again. And let's see, that's 12, so I'm going to do an offset of 6 to get a center line here. That notch out was 5 inches wide and 4 inches tall, so an offset of 2.5 from the center here. Oops. Offset 2.5. Why is it? Okay. Escape a couple times. Offset 2.5. There we go. Here to here, here to there, and then an offset of 4 up. And then I'll do line here to here to here and there. Select this line and this line, trim, and trim off that line. We need 2 more lines. This edge there, there to there, and there. So that cutout's going to create a notch here in the front view, which in order to get that, we're going to need to project over and down from the top. So a quick way to do that, like I said, these going up hit the 45 and then over are going to be the same size in the top. So I'm going to use a rotate command. Select my base point. I'm going to set C for copy so it doesn't so I have it in the right and top view, and then 90 degrees. So there we go. Now I'm going to do a line from here to here, because those would be visible. And then I'm going to switch over to hidden here to here, and here to here. So if we look at our top view in our 3D, those are visible, those are hidden. I'll swap the, just like that. I need to trim out that piece there. Enter. So I'm going to need to project this point and this point down. So I can just copy one of these construction lines. There to there and there. And then there's that little cutout shape right there. So I'll just take line there, 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 there. As you see, I left my hidden layer on. A quick way to change these over to visible, because that's what they need to be, is MA for match properties. I'll click on a visible line, select all those, and press enter. So we're going to need another hidden line from here to here. Press enter. And that's good. Now the last thing I have on there is this hole here, which is a counterbore hole, which you'll see a lot on drawings. So I'm going to show you what the dimension kind of looks like for that. So the top dimension here, the 1 inch diameter, is the small hole here. This symbol here is for counterbore. Then it's a 2 inch diameter counterbore hole that goes down 1 inch. You can ignore these are tolerancing, you can ignore those for right now. So the 2 inch diameter hole diameter goes down 1/2 inch, and then the 1 inch diameter hole starts and goes all the way through. So I have that centered between about here and then halfway between this point. So offset 3, and then I'm going to circle. I need to be on visible, so there's layer match current. So if I want to quickly switch to visible lines, I can use this command, layer match current, press enter, and then select that. Now I'm on the visible layer. So if instead of having to go all the way up there, which I know that doesn't sound like that hard, but when you're doing more complex parts, it kind of can get tedious to always have to go back and forth between switching through layers. So using some of these commands can make your workflow go a lot faster. Circle right here, 2. Repeat my circle right there, 1, and then shooting a construction line down here, 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 and here. So a hole looks like a rectangle in whatever view you're not, or on the side view of it. So I'm going to offset, like I said, it goes down, was it 2 inches? Or no, it wasn't, it was 1 inch. Yep, so a depth of 1. So I'm going to put line here to here, to there. Oops, I see what I did wrong. Circle. That was diameter. I did. So that should be, that one's fine on the bottom. That one's no good. 0.5. M for move. I'm going to move my projection lines down or over to there. There we go. Let's see if this works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The stretch command. Yeah, it just kind of moved it at that point. Just move. I'm going to grab my grip handle here. If I hover over it, I get some options here. I'm going to use the lengthen. And I'm actually going to make it shorter, not lengthen it, but still. So that quick way of adjusting lines like that. Line. There and there. There. There's my counter bore. Looking at it from the side, but it needs to be hidden. So match properties, MA. Click there. Select those. So it's a circle, so it's going to look the same on whatever angle you're looking at it. So I can just do select all these, copy, get a base point, and move it right there. And that's done. That is a 3-view representation of this 3D object. So I'll assign several 3D objects for you to create into multi-view drawings, and we'll be doing a lot of that because that is a lot of what this job is.